Hello, everyone. John Bruna here with the Daily Quote. Such a joy to be with you. So grateful we get to do this even as I travel. I'm waking up this morning at my daughter's home where I've had the opportunity to visit with my family and grandchildren. It's really quite a, well, I can't really put into words, which is kind of funny for a guy like me who's usually speaking for a living. Also had the opportunity to go ahead and present at a conference out here it's out in Monterey, California. Work with some really dedicated people seeking to help people find their way out of addiction and improve the quality of their lives. Real honor. Let's go ahead now and get to today's quote. One of the most persistent delusions of all delusions is the conviction that the source of our dissatisfaction lies outside of ourselves. Yeah, this one's pretty persistent, isn't it? If only this was different, I could be happy. If that would happen, then I'd be okay. Boy, I really worry that this won't happen. Then, it'll be terrible if, things don't go that way. When we're frustrated, angry, suffering from discontent, is it really the thing that we're pointing to that's the cause of that dissatisfaction? Or is it something to do with me wanting things to be different than they are and not actually knowing how to be content with what I already have, the life I get to live? I mean, so much is already going our way, even on what we might consider a bad day. Now, this isn't to negate that things should be different in some way, but there's the word should. Should they be different? Or are there reasons that they are the way they are? And how much of my frustration is thinking they should be different rather than I would like them to be different? And when we think about our dissatisfaction, our stress, our anger, our frustration, those are all internal experiences. And they have a lot to do with how I'm relating to the events. So is my suffering and discontent really from what I'm pointing my finger at, that if this would happen, I would be happy? Well, take a look at your own history. How many times have you got your way in your lifetime? How many times have things gone the way you wanted? Well, okay, millions, right? More than millions. We can't even begin to count. So we've already had those things go our way, and then are we content? Or are we looking for that next thing? So the big question here is, if I've already had millions of things go my way, had wonderful events, wonderful activities, wonderful experiences, more than I can count, that created a temporary moment of pleasure, what makes me think that if this next thing happens, then I would be happy? What if I was different? What if I could attend to this moment more accurately? Right now I can see, I can talk, I can move my body, I'm not in any physical pain. Some of you might be, some of you may not be able to do some of those things. I'm pretty sure the vast majority of you can, and you probably have food, and you probably have clothing, you probably have shelter, you probably have some friends, you've probably accomplished quite a bit in your life, you've probably done many good things, you've probably done, things that you really find are meaningful in your life. Where's your contentment? And how much of our attention is focused on fearing things won't go the way we want, having stress or worry about how something may or may not happen, and how much discontent arises only in my mind about a future event that hasn't happened? Quite a bit, huh? So this doesn't mean we don't plan. It doesn't mean we don't problem solve. It doesn't mean we don't really do some things that will create a good foundation for our future. It means to be more realistic in our expectations and our understanding of the real cause of our stress, worry, and fear, so much of which is based in a belief about something that may or may not happen that we have no power over, that robs me of seeing the value of who I am, what I've already done, and the life I already have. And will rob me of the opportunities to see the real potential of the future I'm creating today. So a little something to think about the next time we feel stress, anger, worry, fear, anxiety. How much of that is here in the present moment, attending to the life you already have versus the story we have in our mind. It's a pretty pervasive delusion, thinking that if so-and-so is different, then I would be happy. Actually, I'm going to say one more thing on this because it just popped up. It illustrates this point, I think, in a real meaningful way. A friend of mine who has chronic pain, who has, some paralyzed certain parts of their body, lives with a pain, was a colleague of mine, worked hard, adapted to changes. She told me once about her recognizing a delusion. Her delusion was, if I could be healthy, if only I could be healthy, I could be happy. Which seems pretty reasonable, right? Someone in chronic pain, someone who's got disabilities, who's for decades, had to have adaptive features on their car just to get around, to drive or to function. If I could be healthy, I could be happy. And then she looked around, she realized there's a lot of healthy people in the world who don't have any of her physical issues, who are not happy. And she realized that's not the source of her dissatisfaction. So a little something to think about the next time we think, well, if this or that happens, then I could be happy, when we can't already be happy with what we've already got.